Y'all better know, or y'all gotta ask somebody what this kind of is, because my oh my, about that time once again. It's about time to get real,
It's high
getting
noon.
getting real with Ronald E Smith, and my guest today. He's an actor, animator, filmmaker, YouTuber. Need I say more? But
Take out
I'll
these
get
notes.
I'll get more into it when we get more talking to the young man himself from Scotland, Mr. Callum Macritchie. How are you?
Yeah. Oh, it's so fantastic to be on the show, Ron. It's such a privilege to finally be talking to you at last, all the way from Scotland. I mean, you've had people from here and there, but hey, oh, how often do you get to talk to somebody from Scotland? You don't often get those bragging rights on this show. And my goodness, what an intro you have! That was quite a show-stopping intro. We haven't even gotten started yet.
Don't
You're
worry,
allowed to
just
tell
keep it
that,
going.
right?
Don't worry, keep it
Okay,
going. As you
okay.
know, everybody, with getting real, we like to go and just talk to our people and get to know them for who they are behind the camera. And
Yes.
with my guest, Callum,
Uh-huh.
he has done so much for himself in such a young age. Callum, can you tell everybody how old you are?
As of recording this, I am currently 21 years old.
Only 21 years young. And this guy over here has so much potential with himself, but his goals are so high that he knows that it ain't going to stop nowhere anytime soon. So that's why we're here. We're going to talk with Callum. We're going to get to know him a little better. And we're going to actually dig more deep about him. And by the end of it, I think y'all going to be like, man, Callum is something else. I know that much. So,
Indeed.
so Callum, just to get the ball rolling, let's just get a little more info about yourself. Tell us for yourself. You're only 21 though, but tell
No.
everyone about yourself growing up in Scotland, because it's a difference between America and Scotland. So please inform us.
Yeah, for starters, we have a 5-hour time gap, which makes planning a few things with talking to each other a bit of a problem, very problematic at times.
True
um,
that.
um, but here in Scotland, it may be small, but you could say it's bigger on the inside. um, we have landscapes that was going to blow you away, and we have some of the freshest water you could ever taste. If you even travel down to England, their water is not as fresh as the water. I'm speaking the truth here. I'm not trying to be biased.
But that's cool though, man. Because like for yourself, being so far, far away. Because I people don't know. I met Callum during the app Stardust. I
Yes.
interact with a lot of people on that app, and that's where I got my introduction to Callum. And of course, through our introduction to each other, we met through film and shows.
Yay.
And
More specifically, we saw each other. I met each other, said hi to each other. Oh, hi, Mark. And then Neo brought us together for the Reactaholics podcast. So this is by no means the first time we've talked to each other.
oh, not even close, not even fully close.
Not even
But
close, baby.
but with Callum and what I've known from you, being so far away, you, like I've said, you have so much skill set of what you want because like I said, you're an actor, you're an animator, especially an animator. You
Oh,
know,
yes.
so but where did all this come from? Like, where did this begin with you to get inspired to do all these things that are you right now?
Well, it all began quite a young age, actually. For as long as I can remember, I guess you could say I was just born to be a very creative person. When I was younger, people noticed that I was using the right colors for these characters from a certain show, whereas other people would mess about with different colors. You say, "Wow, Callum, you got the colors right." And I said, "Yeah, but I often draw stick figures a lot, just having a lot of fun, just funny little sketches." Um, and then as I continued, the moment I got to high school, now somehow I still don't know how I did this, but I managed to make the leap from stick figures figures to drawing sunflowers. Quite some detail to the first year of high school. That still blows my mind. I just guess they want you to pay more attention.
But was that just? But did that just come easy to you? Because like just like you said, like a lot of us don't move past the stick figure stage, but you progress faster than that. So like, was that just something that you just knew how to do it automatically?
Sort of. I mean, on the one hand, I really like being creative, so that's probably part of it. On the other hand, when I was at high school, they sort of teach you to pay more attention. Primary school, teach you the basics. High school, here's something to make you pay more attention in life, the crucial stuff, as including art. So, art to get me to pay more attention. And then now that I'm at college, they're challenging my perceptions of art and making me work around certain things, talk about certain issues. So it's something that I've gotten better and better over time. Oh, yeah, practice. That's a key aspect of my creativity. I think one is passion for it, and I guess I got that out to the bag instantly. And secondly, practice. Practice makes perfect. They're not joking when they say practice makes perfect. The same could be said for you with your interview show. You love interviewing, right?
Of course I do, man. It's what I love to do.
The only way you're going to get better at interviewing is by doing it again and again and again until you're out in the top. And who knows, you'll be better than Larry King someday or something, and I'll be better than Picasso or something.
Trial by error, of course. That's the only way we can get better.
Yeah, just as Meet the Robinsons said, keep moving forward. Just keep practicing. And yeah, just practice makes perfect. I mean, I'm not really good at maths, but if I kept practicing maths, I'd get better at it.
But with that though, man, like, did your parents notice this about you? Like, did they see this
Oh, yeah.
early on, like something with you, like, oh, Calum's got a gift?
Oh, yeah. There are several family members who are also quite creative and have made a few paintings. Me and my sibling have been attending these art classes, and we've been attending the same college course, except she dropped out, and I'm doing the degree now. Yeah, it's just something we just love to do. I love doing it in my spare time. I love painting, and it's something I really like to do in my spare time. And even in my spare time, I'm just thinking, okay, just make a nice drawing, fun drawing out in the sunny weather, drawing and painting. It's something I really like to do. And recently, spare time's been kept up with the animating and what if I make a pose like this? Okay, a few more frames here, a few more frames there. So yes, it's a really fun thing to do. And the thing about doing what you love doing is that when you're doing what you love doing, it never feels like a chore, despite how long it takes.
Very true.
It feels like you were born for this role, much like you were born for interviewing, apparently. Yes.
But see, man, like I appreciate that. But man, like you said, that the things that you were doing were, if you said that to somebody else, they would think what you just said is boring. Like all doing the frames. Oh, you're trying like a lot of other people look at that and like, oh, that's not fun. But to you, like you were just saying, it's not work to you. This is something that on your spare time you want to animate something. You want to just voice something because that's what you like to do.
Yeah, it's a very time-consuming process to create creativity. Any creative project I do is a time-consuming process, but what makes it motivating is that the end result is always worth it. And recently, I've been learning a lot more and more about patience and time, and people have been looking at my work and saying, "Whoa, you have so much patience! I could never do that sort of thing." And it's like, okay, you just gotta draw it, pay it, be observant, little bit at a time. That's something I picked up in college recently. Just do one thing at a time. There's a bit of an upside and a downside. On the one side, you are taking time to do this, but on the other, I have a complaint that time just moves way too quickly for my liking in this recent days.
Especially when you're just doing something so much and it just flies by.
Yeah, I swear, hours feel like half an hour nowadays.
And that's true. But and I always want to know this from you, Cal, because I've seen you when your many voices that you've done. Like, it's true, guys. Like, this guy can voice a lot of good things. He puts a lot of voice actors to shame. So, but like with your animation, with your voice acting,
Yeah.
let's just get into that. For that, where did that come from? where did voice acting start for you?
I
When did
was
you get that itch?
I'm looking forward to talking about this. So, um, as long as I can remember, I've been pretty good at voice acting. You'll notice some people like Brian Hull. Brian Hull's an astounding voice actor who's a big fan of Disney. The way he described his voice acting talents is that he was watching it, he's done impressions, he did impressions, he said, "Oh, I can do this impression quite well. Okay, let's try another one." He did it. "Oh, I can do that one really well." That was pretty much the same thing with me. I just, it started at primary school, really, when, you're watching television and movies, you're exposing yourself to the silver screen, and you're just quoting it a lot with your friends. Yeah, quoting is a thing I do a lot. I think I owe a lot of it to primary school, but we often quote a lot of fun, cartoony movies that we'd watch and imitate each other. And I sort of imitate them, and I got better and better. There were some voice impressions that I found hard, but eventually got nailed them all the time. And I think I owe a lot of my voice acting skills to The Simpsons,
Mm,
because let me tell you, when I was in primary school, I was obsessed with The Simpsons.
same with
I
me.
watched it every time, 6 p.m. And yeah, at Channel 4, and it was a show for everybody. It was hilarious, hysterical. It was so much quotes in it, and so many brilliant characters. For me, it was just an open door to impersonate. And I had Simpsons figurines, Simpsons books. If I had a quiz book and I could practically answer every question, I dedicated myself to watching all the Simpsons episodes. Pretty much, I don't know, the first season all the way to, I don't know, 20 or so. They often do replays of
Mm.
them, so pretty much any random Simpsons episode, and I got the collections. And then the Simpsons movie came about when I was still in primary school as well. So, and me and my friends couldn't shut up about the Simpsons movie. It was that good. And oddly enough, I got introduced to certain characters from The Simpsons in the Simpsons movie. Oddly enough, like I'm going to be odd, like Cletus, the comic book guy.
Ah, okay. But
um,
with Simpsons though, like what is it about it that really stuck with you? Like,
it's this show that's made for everybody. And still to this day, it's a very unique show. It was very unique for me because it was a little kid, but most people say it's an adult show. But I say, actually, no, it's a show for literally everybody, adults, children, and teenagers. Sure, it's a tad bit extreme, but that's partly why I liked it. It made it more hilarious, and there were so many characters. And when I watched the Simpsons movie at the end credits, I was little me at the time was shocked to realize that many characters were voiced by one person. So that kind of influenced me a lot a bit. And again, combined with the fact that me and my friends would just quote this movie all the time, just we're saying, "Oh, that was the best part. That was a brilliant part. Lights go off. All right. You got to put my booze back in the, right before I turn the lights off. Turn the lights off, and then all his clothes are gone. Another scene. We need to make sure that this dump is completely idiot-proof. Cletus, yes, huh? Try to dump something in the lake. Okay." He takes the rat. He bumps into the fence, even though he could easily put his hand over the fence. Just said, I can't. I simply can't."
yeah, I'm talking right now to Callum Macritchie, and Callum, as you know, I'm seeing the just the excitement about how you feel about voice acting. It oozes
Yeah.
off from you,
Yes.
and but like with everything,
Jeez.
it's a very it's a time not time consuming, but I would say it's a very hard business to get into. It's not
Mm.
easy, just like
You can,
animation.
yeah, you can watch Kristen Archer for that sort of thing. And I learned over time, I think it was particularly in high school, that I learned more about the ins and outs of voice acting and animation. I learned how exactly they did it, and it was mainly in part thanks to go attending several animation classes, which I'll talk in more detail later. But basically, I learned how exactly managed to do the techniques one frame at a time. And in my spare time, I looked at the internet. How did they do that? And I looked up some people, and I got introduced to Don Bluth
Mm,
and other people. And
that's a
Don
good
Bluth actually
choice.
gave a few. Yeah, Don Bluth gave a few lessons, like a monkey see, monkey do, and I've learned some other techniques like the squash and stretch, or how much energy you put into it, how to make it smoother. More frames make it slower, less frames makes it faster, etc., etc., etc. And the voice actor, you got to sync that up, and then the lengths that people go to for bringing these characters to life. And recently, and for this interview, I'm going to give you some insight on how to do it so that you can get the chance to voice act too. So anybody can impersonate the characters. It's just a matter of how well they do it. So I've noticed recently that certain characters, and people for that matter, have different levels of speaking. They can speak from the mouth. They can speak from the throat.
Like they have some kind of raspy voice or something, like Rod Stewart or something when he's singing.
Maybe they talk from the diaphragm and they're bigger than life. And then, of course, you got to put their accents, their personalities in there. Like, for example, the heavy weapons guy from Team Fortress 2. First of all, you got to master Russian accent. You'll pick things up over time just by hearing it and doing it again and again. And of course, he's quite big. I know it's heavy, kind of talks from the throat as well, the diaphragm. So he kind of talks with an accent, and then you use the diaphragm. And then he's bigger than life, and Sandwich and I are coming for you. So that's one example. Another example. Winnie the Pooh. For the longest time, Winnie was one of the more difficult impressions to do. In that, you hear Winnie the Pooh's voice and you're trying to imitate. You just think,
it's hard.
How do they do that? It's hard. It's such a distinct, soft voice that. How do you do that? But eventually, I've learned how to pick it up, as well as John Bailey. I think me and John Bailey had the same sort of.
You sort of start talking very softly because he's a very gentle person. And I've noticed that he kind of talks at the back of the throat. And then he do the American accent and maybe get the pitch right. Oh, now where's that honey? Oh, bother.
That's how you do Winnie the Pooh.
So then with all this, Callum,
yeah,
with all this, because you've learned from voice acting, all the real ins and outs of it, and especially how the diaphragm and how people get their voice like that, and also too, the ins and out of animation. Does that give you more respect to when you watch an animated film or an animated show?
Oh, definitely. In fact, especially for someone like me, when I watch an animated film, I'm actually paying much more attention just to think, how do they get those frames exactly right? Wow, look at how immersive it all is. And wow, they must have put all their energy into that sort of thing. So yeah, when you work in certain industries, you pick up on certain things, like a detective picks up on certain behaviors, that sort of thing.
Can you remember about what animated film or what animated show really more opened your eyes into the I like this, but no, I really, really love and respect everything about this show or movie.
Now, this is the part I've been looking forward to for some time. Again, in high school, I was opening up my eyes to animation, and there was a friend of mine named Jack Buist, or Jack of All Trades. You can view him out. I have the link to his channel on my YouTube channel, Jack of All Trades. He is, and still is, obsessed with Gravity Falls. He was talking to me about it nonstop. Oh yeah, it's fantastic. But I didn't know it at the time. I thought, oh, funny show like Phineas and Ferb. Haha. Oh, plot twist about twin. Oh, no biggie. That sounds funny. And then I didn't know any better. But of course, after I watched the show, I started getting hooked onto it.
What about it?
Not only was it funny, what about it? This opened my eyes to the fact that animation could be taken much more seriously. It could appeal to a slightly older audience, or some in between. I suppose I already got that with The Simpsons. That was largely comedy, but nothing wrong. I mean, I still love The Simpsons, but Gravity Falls opened up my eyes to more serious storytelling and immersive world building, because it helped that Gravity Falls has these little Easter eggs you have to look out for, but there's this ominous tone to Gravity Falls all the time, and people to this day are still theorizing about Gravity Falls even after the show has answered all the major questions.
Right.
So at least it's self-contained, and I was amazed by the fact that it could tell its own story. It didn't have to go on for so long. It could tell a serialized story, and I was hooked onto it. And especially at the end of season 1, I was amazed at how it could be done. Like, I love these characters, and but when the plot twist for season 1, I won't say too much for those of you who haven't seen Gravity Falls, but at the plot twist at the end of season 1, I was like, and I thought to myself, okay, if a show can make me gasp at a plot twist, they're doing something right.
You know, I'm talking to Calum Macritchie, and Calum, like, you're absolutely right with Gravity Falls. You know, because just the way you're expressing about it, I was hooked on it. Like man, I was hooked on crazy. Like, I love that show, and also on show. Exactly, but I also, knowing you, I know there's another show too that really like stuck with you, and I think you know the show I might be talking about with you.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, yeah, that's another one.
That one.
I mean,
really,
now, there were several shows, but yes, Avatar. To be fair, Avatar got to all of us. I mean,
it did.
Gravity Falls just happened to be the one that opened me up to some of the other ones. Now, to be honest, I have seen some of the episodes of Avatar when I was much younger, but I didn't see the full thing until years later when I was hearing, oh, it's such a spectacular show. And I thought, right, I might as well go through this again. And they were right. It's one of the best animated shows ever made.
So then how do you feel when, as a person who you're trying to get into the business of animation and voice acting, but how does it make you feel when you hear people on the outside who see people our age who still watch this stuff and they say, oh, what are you doing? This is for kids. Or the medium that's saying that grown people aren't supposed to be watching this stuff. This is only supposed to be for little kids.
Get out. So I think it kind of helped. I'm really fascinated with this thing because I think it's no secret that I'm quite a man-child.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. That's sort of a trait that I've picked up from several family members, specifically my uncle. And I'm a kid person. Whenever there's kids around, I usually get on quite well with them, and I don't disrespect their intelligence because these shows have taught me very well that, especially one that I'll get to later, that you don't have to spoon feed anything to them. So yeah, I don't use spoon feed anything to them. If there's something crazy that they're saying, I usually just casually go along with it, and they love me. That's no secret. But animation can be taken as art form. Yeah, I'm saying it right now. Animation is an art form. And it's a shame that not many people are taking it so seriously, hence why we have all those awful live-action Disney remakes. Not that all of them are bad, but there's, that they're cashing in some kind of, what's the word?
Cash grab?
Cash grab, or some kind of nitpick amongst people that, animation can't be taken seriously. Let's make it all live action. And Disney's like, oh, we gotta listen to him. Hey, Mickey, listen to them. We need to catch up to some trends. Trends? Well, I'll just contact Hollywood and we'll get going. Don't get me wrong, not all of them are bad. Some of them I actually really love, like Christopher Robin, Jungle Book. Some of them I liked, but the other ones, oh man, they were awkward.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to mention other animated shows and films that opened my eyes to the fact that they were... During my late high school days, I was hearing about anime. I didn't watch much anime up until... And I started out, and rightfully so, with Studio Ghibli. And the first... I have seen bits of other Studio Ghibli movies in the past when I was much younger, but I didn't see the full length of them. So the first one I saw full length was Spirited, and just like Gravity Falls, it completely blew my mind. I mean, I was thinking it was going to be some kind of typical fantasy adventure where they go to cross to one location to another, quirky characters, But as we all know, Spirited Away isn't your average fantasy movie. Oh no,
It's not.
no, it completely open. The whole thing is mostly set in one location, which kind of put me off guard. It was very uncomfortable throughout the whole thing. Yeah, it was so captivating and beautiful, and there were so many hidden subtext and messages that I can see why people make constant video essays on it. That's the thing about me. Ever since then, I've been a guy obsessed with films, animated or otherwise, that you could write essays about. I always seek deeper meaning in films like that, and with theological studies, that thirst for meaning has gotten even deeper, and my drive for art has gotten deeper, I suppose. So yeah.
But why?
Why? Because because of how impactful these films have been. They carried out some brilliant messages that spoke to young and old in such a sophisticated and nuanced way. Spirited Away was very nuanced. It never spoon-fed you anything. There were some environmental messages in there, like with the river spirit that they have to clean up. You've seen the film, right? There's big, squelchy, disgusting, stenching spirit, and they have to yank out all the disgusting bits out of it. The spirit's pointing out what's wrong with it, and they yank it out, and all this trash comes out, and then the spirit says, "Well done," and the spirit congratulates Chihiro with this little ball. And if you look behind the scenes, Miyazaki said that every year when he'd visit family, they'd clean this river. So the fact that all these items are in the modern world, whether you realize it or not, that's an environmental message. And another environmental message in Spirited Away was when, again, if you've seen the movie, when Chihiro finally realizes Haku's real name, named the spirit of the Kohaku River, and he realizes, oh, of course, they built buildings on top of that river now. And if you're paying attention, you think, oh my, what are we doing to our environment? We're wasting our wonderful world.
See, a film that has a deep message, but it can reach all ages that everybody can understand.
And you know what, Ron? That was only the beginning of my introduction to a worldwide phenomenon that's consuming the teenage market. Anime. Dun, dun, dun!
Done so much. I want you to give me two more. Give me two more of those right now.
Yeah, I'll give you some more Studio Ghibli ones, and I'll mention 2 television shows. And no, who am I kidding? 3 or so television shows that are animated as well. From Studio Ghibli, there was also Princess Mononoke. Speaking of environment,
great movie,
themed movies. Yeah, that was a fantastic movie. It's again, it was talking about environmental message. The key theme that stood out was that they could have easily have made the humans just these diabolical villains, but they had something else in mind. They presented the humans as, for lack of a better word, human. They gave us understandable motives to destroy all this nature just to get natural resources to live, and to make things more sophisticated. The main villain, Lady Eboshi, is sheltering prostitutes and lepers. I mean, that takes a lot of guts to welcome lepers.
A lot of stuff like that wouldn't even be in over here in America.
That's why we love you, Miyazaki. Of course, I've watched more of Miyazaki's films, as well as Takahata's films, and there was some more that I just had to watch all of them. And I watched Takahata's Grave of the Fireflies, made me bawl like a baby.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. I watched this one that was in a film festival that I had the fortunate opportunity to see in a cinema. And this is quite important. It's called The Red Turtle. This is quite crucial for my line of work, because this is a film where the entire film is told with no dialogue whatsoever. And yet, again, they bring in all these sophisticated themes. You could watch it again. You could have your own interpretation of it. It talks about life. It's a very basic premise. Man gets deserted on an island. We've all heard and done this dance before. but they have so much sophistication, like mental health, like love, life, death, and spirituality, and dreams, and so many things. And it really stood out to me, and it's still one of my favorites. And then when I got to college, I didn't stop my Studio Ghibli regime, and I started branching out to some other films, which were similar, which were equally as good, like Wolf Children, Boy and His Beast, Your Name, etc., etc., etc. And then, round about my college age, season 5 of Samurai Jack came out. I was like, hey, I've heard of this. Ooh, this looks interesting and quite mature. I should probably watch the entire show to catch up what this is all about. So, watch Samurai Jack, and this, yes, this is going to lead to one of my videos, my animations. So, I watched Samurai Jack from season 1, and after the first 3 episodes, I was completely hooked. It was heavily atmospheric, really stylized, and again, it's got this very distinct use of visual storytelling, which really impacted me. It had little to no dialogue. It did have dialogue, of course, with Aku saying "Long ago in a distant land, I Aku," etc., etc. But what was brilliant about Samurai Jack is that they told you just enough to get you immersed, and they don't let anything else get in the way of what's going on. What you're being told is happening at the moment, and the visuals are very distinct.
Yeah.
It's very minimal, yet everything about the show can be summarized that it's minimal, but it's detailed enough that you understand the scenario, and they make it so epic and make it so simple. And here's something else I love about, personally, slow-paced atmosphere. Ron, name me one other animated show that has a slow pacing like Samurai Jack.
On the top of my head, currently or in the past?
Anything.
Cowboy Bebop.
Oh yeah. Oh, I was gonna get to that after I talked about Samurai Jack, because that's the one I watched next. Anyway, Sam, I haven't seen any show that had this eerie, slow-paced, engaging atmosphere quite like Samurai Jack, and that had an impact on me. Just to get immersed into landscapes and just to get in the mindset of the hero as he's struggling to get back to the past. It's a long, grueling journey, and that's emphasized by how long everything feels. I find it so immersive. People often make the mistake of thinking, oh, let's make it fast-paced so that we won't bore the kids. But actually, I don't find slow pacing boring at all. In fact, I need a break from fast pace. I find the slow pacing much more engaging because it builds up the atmosphere, gets you excited for what's coming, and gets you in the mindset. Yeah, slow burn, and really gets you immersed. Like, oh, I could walk in all this, helped by the sound effects and the struggles the hero's going through. And Jack himself became more and more relatable the further the show went on. In season 2, there were 2 episodes that really stood out along with the slow-paced atmosphere. There's Jack is a hero I could relate to in terms of getting through the struggles and overcoming obstacles. There were 2 episodes where Jack's confronting himself and his past, and this is before season 5, mind you. And he's confronting his inner demon, and oftentimes he's a worser enemy than any foe he's ever faced. But he finds the will within himself to keep going. That's the inspiring message, and that was again the atmosphere more immersive. Is that no matter what comes your way, you just keep going. You keep going, and that was brilliant. So,
as a kid, and again, a kid's show. Look at that.
Yeah, it's a kid's show. And what struck me about Samurai Jack is that I think this was a show aimed for older children, and usually my works tend to aim for older children. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I feel like that's a crowd that we're missing nowadays. So then, of course, came I love that even more. Because it delved into mental health. There was an actual story this time, and it was intense. And the animation got better, and there was, so much brilliantness to it. I probably won't spoil anything too much, but it's a visual treat with visual storytelling. And And so much so, it inspired probably my most successful YouTube video, which I'll explain later on, because now I'm going to talk about Cowboy Bebop, which is one of your favorite anime shows as well, Ron.
It's a very, very good show. It's not overhyped, y'all. It's worth the
No,
hype. It's when people say it's one of the best anime shows out there, it
they're not
is.
lying. They're not joking. It really ends the show with a bang. Am I right?
Man, it's something else. Worth a watch.
Yeah, some people say it's weird, like Neil did on Oddly Enough, but we're not joking. It's one of the best shows ever made because, again, just like everything else, it blew my mind. It's a character piece, and it had so many themes. I thought, what? Animation delves into themes this harsh? I mean, existentialism? That's like the hardest thing you could talk about. And yet it does it. And yikes, it's so much more depressing because of that.
Right now, I'm speaking with Callum Macritchie. If any of you guys want to follow him, please follow him on YouTube at Scott's Mayor on YouTube, Instagram, Callum_Macritchie_XD. And if you are one of the Stardusters, listen to this, and you just don't remember what his Stardust account is, follow him, Stardust at Scott's Wizard. Now, Callum, animation means so much to you.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole of voice acting and filmmaking means that much to you. But I know something else means a lot to you. And I would love to touch about this with you, if I may.
Yeah.
Your faith means a lot to you. From what I've seen talking to you and the way you are on Instagram, you're not shy to let people know about your faith.
I'm not shy at all. I'm openly Christian, and I'm not shy about it at all, especially with all that I've learned. Because I'll tell you what, I mean, I grew up with the church just like a lot of people do, and I believed it, and still do, but I'll explain why later. Got all the lessons learned, and then when I was, I can't remember, was it late high school or early college? I think it was early college. My dad, who's part of the ministry, invited me along to participate in, I don't know if you've heard about this, Ron, called the Alpha Course.
Never heard of it, no.
No? Never heard of it? Okay, so this is basically this worldwide organization that's set to introduce people to Christianity, and it's led by this man named Nicky Gumbel, who used to be skeptical himself before he read the Bible, looked into the evidence, and said, actually, this is all true. Not only is it true, it's relevant. And look, when they presented how relevant the Bible was and the evidence that supports it historically, archaeologically, and of course, personally affecting people's lives, I just thought, what? Whoa! I need to catch up with this. And unlike most college students, sadly, my faith didn't dampen. It actually grew, and I'd even argue it's still growing to this day. That awoke something in me, just this thirst for knowledge, for knowledge is power, as they say. Just research what it's all about.
So that's always been with you, right? Your faith has always been with you, even when you were young.
Blissfully, yes.
So then I have to ask you, because as a person also who's a child of God, my faith is strong. Thank you,
Amen
man.
to that.
But as any of us who are children of Christ, and we also get into our career paths of what we do, there are times when sometimes our faith is challenged. Sometimes when we flip, and it's okay. But I ask you this because you, in the industry that you're in, a lot of stuff, it gets challenging with it. So I want to ask you about this, Callum, is have you ever, with your faith, have you ever doubted yourself? Were there times where you felt that it was too hard, or did you ever question anything from it?
Around about the same time I was getting this theatrical event, something suddenly hit my mind, this fear of hopelessness. And I thought to myself, no, I refuse to live a hopeless life. I refuse to live hopelessly. So that motivated me to research more and more into the evidence. That's where I came across some of the some great theologians and apologetics. I don't know if you've heard of them, Ron, but people like Rabbi Zacharias, um, people like Frank Turek, who is very logical about how everything works. And I might explain a few facts later on. And people like Ray Comfort, who made me question my consciousness, and it's getting better and better. I've done bad things, but again, I'm improving and improving.
Like all of us, man. None of us are perfect.
No, that's why Jesus came, and there is proof of that. There's plenty of historical proof, and it's astounding how overwhelming the proof is once you research it. In fact, I'm going to tell you some of the facts that these smart people have taught me. This is something Frank Turek taught me in terms of God creating everything. If space, matter, and time had a beginning out of nothing, which the Big Bang and thermodynamics confirms, then obviously there must be something outside of space, matter, and time in order to create everything. In other words, in order for nature to exist, there must be something supernatural to create everything, because everything material must have a cause that caused it first. Are you with me?
No, I'm with you, man. I'm listening.
Yeah. And keep in mind, modern science has an eerie comparison to the Bible, and everything materialized from nothing, like pitch black, zero. There was nothing, no time, not even chance, not even quantum physics, nothing. So basically, when you think about a spaceless, timeless, immaterial, personal to choose to do this, powerful in order to do the whole thing, and powerful being, you think of God. So I think it's ridiculous to think that something came out of nothing. That's absurd. I think it's just logical to say that God made everything. And again, you can look into more research. And these smart people have also told me about these worldviews that people build just as pathetic excuses. There are some people who are daft enough to say that there is no truth. Like, there's no truth at all. You've got your truth, I got my truth. So, Ron, basically, if someone comes up to you and says there is no truth, you ought to ask them this one simple question. Is that true? Because, yeah, is it true that there's no truth? Because if it's true that there's no truth, then the claim that there is no truth can't be true. Yet it claims to be true. In other words, that's a self-defeating statement. And you'll find that false worldviews have all sorts of self-defeating statements like that. And the fact that when you look into it, you think, actually, these worldviews have a huge lack of evidence. But when you look into Christianity, there's actually lots of evidence. So due to the evidence and some other motivating things, that's why I'm still a Christian.
Has your journey through your career path conflicted with your faith? Because sometimes that happens.
Not really, as far as I know. I suppose there were some occasions where recently I've looked into my YouTube channel and like, oh my, I've stolen copyrighted music. I've got to fix that. And,
that's just a simple YouTube thing. That's all. I know nothing new about that.
Yeah, but it's stealing nonetheless, and I just had to fix it. So, that's a thing I've learned. There's no such thing as a small sin. That's a trick. That's a lie. A lie is a lie, no matter what it is. Basically.
Very true. And go ahead, Cal.
Other things like saying Lord's name in vain. I was like, oh my. I should probably stop doing that. Yeah. But sorry, we were going to say something, Ron?
No, I was just going to say, too, because it's always hard because I know I've seen animators, they have to draw certain things, and or they have to voice act some things. I've seen some voice actors say that I don't do this. Like, personally, I don't voice act this. I don't want to draw that because
right.
It relates to their face. So have you got to that point? Has that ever happened to you?
Probably, but at the same time, I'm planning on making some projects where I can talk about some biblical themes in some subtle ways.
Okay, and that's fine. That's all good with my boat. But and the one thing I really wanted to bring with you, and I'm also everybody, I'm speaking with Callum Macritchie. The one thing,
Hey,
the one thing I wanted to bring up because it goes with your faith, is
uh,
that I know also too that you have autism,
yes. Oh, yes. This is another crucial part of me. Yes.
and that is something that you've had what the majority of your life.
Yeah, pretty much since I was born.
So with that, how has that conflicted or not conflicted? How has
Uh,
that been entwined with your faith and also in your career?
I have a mild case of autism. So it's probably not as severe as others, but I do tend to ask lots and lots of questions about just about anything. Like a teacher will explain how to do this sort of thing. I often need more clarification. And because of this, a lot of metaphors go over my head. I'm like Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, you're the real life Drax.
Yeah, I'm the real life Drax, except nothing will get over me. My reflexes are too fast for that. Yeah. So you probably noticed that in the Reactaholics podcast. There was one time when you all suggested, no, that went over his head. And then I made the Drax joke. In fact, let me tell you a funny story. In high school, there was this one mate, that one person who was friends with everybody, a bit of
Yes,
a teaser with the teachers,
of
but
course.
overall a likable guy. But one time, this kind of person came up to me and said, "Hey, Callum, are you buzzing?" At that moment, I thought, "What kind of alien language is this? What does buzzing mean?" And here is how I responded. And they thought it was really funny. And then he got a larger group of friends. "Hey guys, check this out. Hey Cal, are you buzzing?" I smiled. Yeah. So there's been some funny instances, but also some troubling times. And during exams, I usually have extended time because that's another thing about people like me. I have to take a longer time just to process certain things. I learn very differently from most other people.
Hey man, I'm there
And
with you too. I've had to take some stuff like that as well.
oh, really?
Oh yeah, man. With my math classes, same.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, that's why the support teachers are there. But I was one of those people that needed the support teacher with me pretty much constantly, but eventually learned how to handle things over time. During my primary school, there was this way of doing things. Like most people, I'm a visual learner, but I think everyone is, unless they're blind, in which case I'm sorry. I'm sorry if this was offensive to blind people. But they they gave me this sort of timetable where they stick on these symbols like this class time, listen, um, get in line, and lunchtime. Okay, it's lunchtime now. Go out and play, 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 play. Okay, uh, spare room time. Yeah, because when I was much younger with autism, they took me to this room, this separate play room where it's nice and quiet, and well, however you define quiet with us in the room, but away from the stress. And there's a play pool, toys, and singing songs, and food, etc., etc., etc. It wasn't until I was in about primary 5, 6, 7, I started going outside more often. But yeah, it was very good to have that service there. Um, and in high school, more or less the same thing, except during lunch breaks, you can go to this area that they call the hub, a nice quiet area where people autistic spectrum could talk to each other. I made several friends there, and I'm pretty sure it's gotten really noisy ever since I left. But I've got more confident over time, and this is the part where I talk about my theater, actually, because that in turn leads to something relating to autism that I'm working on. I owe a huge thanks to a lot of my confidence to this local theater I have here in Inverness, called Eden Court Theatre. If you're ever at Inverness, it's definitely worth a visit because, Ron, are you familiar with Karen Gillan?
Name's ringing a bell, but not at the top of my head.
She is Amy Pond with the 11th Doctor in Doctor Who. And she is Nebula in Guardians of the Galaxy, and she is the heroine chick from the recent Jumanji movies, ginger hair.
That's fully ringing bells. All right. No, I definitely remember her now.
Yes. Karen Gillan is from Inverness.
Say word.
And
what?
she trained. Yeah, what? Someone in a Hollywood movie was from my time. What? I know, it's quite mind-blowing. Because of this, in every single cinema leaflet, especially in Eden Court, with Karen Gillan, we said, our local hero is in this movie.
That's nice.
Like Guardians of the Galaxy when it came out. Yeah, it was brilliant. You
said that this gave you confidence. Like,
oh, yeah.
How did it do for you?
So, when I entered my first year of high school, my mum pointed out that there was this filmmaking club at this renovated Eden Court Theatre, because it was quite an old theatre. They took quite some time to make it more brand new and contemporary and fancy. And it looks brand spanking new. And Mum said, hey, look, there's this filmmaking group. You can learn the ins and outs of how to make a film. Oh, brilliant. So I went there. It was Halloween at the time, so we were going to make the Halloween-based film. I met some people and the tutors I would have for life, like Mike Webster and Graham Utoff. And the way the filmmaking group worked was that you come up with an idea, you get your camera and sound mic, you film it, however you please. Nothing professional. This is just a fun thing, so that you learn how it works. Even try out a few camera techniques, which I tried doing as I got older, and then you learn how to edit. So this place was crucial for me to understand how to make video. So this would be crucial for my YouTube channel later on. But you can actually view some of the films that I did, and I was really young. I'm aged 12 to 18, so you'll see a much younger me if you go to the Eden Court Film Classes YouTube channel. You'll spot a familiar looking imp there. Still quite tall, but yes.
A familiar face.
Yeah, a familiar face. And whilst I was there, and this is going to sound familiar, I met a good friend of mine, and a shout out to him because he's been keeping up with our channel, called Christian McKinnon. He's been a really good friend of mine. He is also obsessed with voice acting. He's quite a good voice actor himself. He does some really good Transformers, Family Guy, Simpsons impressions. He's a bit harsh on himself, and he's quite a harsh critic at times. But he's been good support for me, and it was through me that I got introduced to our podcast, which I'll explain later. But yeah, shout out to Chris McKinnon. Thank you very much, buddy. And then I also attended, in the filmmaking group, you can also do stop motion animation because of the way the cameras can work. So that was quite fun to use, the claymation. And then there was another class. It was a digital animation class, learning the ins and outs of digital animation. I was seeing a few shorts that this animator was showing me. Again, nothing professional. It's just to let you learn how it works. So it's a case of shrinking objects and skeletons and the spacing, etc., etc., etc. Looking at them for examples, and made many good friends. Some were on wheelchairs, and others were also had disabilities, but were equally passionate about this sort of thing. And then this is what really boosted my confidence in acting. I went to this drama club for people aged 13 to 18. There were all sorts of people there, and met this really funny friend named Smudge. The moment he met him, he did this little dance with me, which involved throwing me on the floor. This was before we got in, but I just thought, I'm going to like this person. When we got inside, a man named John Batty was saying hello. We do various things, but what we mostly do is do these exercises that are set to improve our stage presence and confidence. And this thing, it's a beautiful heavenly gift. This is called improvisation. This is such a fun thing to do if you've got the time. In fact, the theater group is so good. I'd recommend it to anybody, even if you're not planning on doing an acting career. I'd highly recommend a theater group just to boost your confidence and self-esteem, because you're learning over time how to project your voice and how to open up your body language so that you're not a shy little buttercup. No, you're a tremendous bull or something. I'll give you an example of some improvisation tests that we do. One of the first ones we ever did was, all right, everyone spread out around the room, walk around, and round and circle. Don't walk in a circle. Just walk around. Get into groups of 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Form a baby crib. And 10, 9. And then I set myself up like a baby. And then the 2 older gents. Right. And then they formed the crib. Okay, go. We did it again. Form into groups of 5. Okay, 5. Form a car. Okay. Okay. You go the wheels. You go the top bit here. Maybe I'll drive. No. How about we go the front? 5, 4. Oh, let's just okay. Hold still. 2, 1, go. And then eventually, let's get everyone together. Make a Viking longship. Oh, I could be the mast. Okay, I be the sails. Okay, you be that way. Okay. And there's other exercises like that.
But see, Callum, with what you're saying to me, and I see just the energy of how it meant so much to you and how it gave you, I said it gave you good, strong belief in yourself.
Yeah.
And everyone else who was a part of it. But everybody, it's not everyone is, that positive. Not everybody will look at, especially when they hear the word autism, not everyone understands it, So
yeah,
have
a very
there been
toxic thing on the internet. Yeah,
exactly. So has there been times when people, and look, man, people can be mean. People just don't understand it or don't want to get it. Has there been times where that's hit you, or have you seen it up close to yourself, and that made you stop and question yourself?
Well, probably. Oh, I don't know. I suppose there was. I'm always coming across these things on the internet where some people's like, "This guy's autistic." What they're really saying is that this guy is stupid. But if they were talking,
and you feel that way,
if I were to be told that, I would actually take it as a compliment, and I was saying, "Why are you treating this like it's an offensive thing?" It's really not that bad. In fact, I'd even argue that autism is an advantage. I have this personal philosophy that the greater the disability, the greater your ability. Like Stephen Hawking or the Paralympics.
Say that again.
Okay, the greater the disability, the greater the ability. Because not everyone's good at everything, but everyone has a God-blessed talent.
Right.
And I suppose there was one instances where I was bullied because these girls wouldn't leave me alone. Sometimes we just want our privacy. But fortunately, I've had some opportunities to raise awareness of it. This is where the theater and autism comes together as one. With this theatrical production, pardon me, with this, I was invited to, out of 4 people in the Highlands, to participate in a theatrical production in Glasgow based on a book called The Reason I Jump. Now, The Reason I Jump is this book written by a 13-year-old Japanese boy. At the time, he's not 13-year-old anymore. But we got together, I think it was my 6th year at high school, at the Royal Conservatoire of Glasgow, of Scotland rather. We met a theatre director by the name of Graham Eatough, and he had this idea of making a theatrical adaptation of this book. So what is this book all about? It's basically this question and answers book about autism. Like, why do you act this way? What do you think of this? Or indeed, why do you jump? And then Naoki Kishida will respond in different ways. Like, I behave this way because I find certain things fascinating. I like playing around with numbers. I like the sensations. I take time to process certain things, etc., etc., etc. It's a really insightful book. I don't agree with all of it, but the majority of it I can relate to. Yeah. And so we were taking time to do it. And then it wasn't until 2 years or so later that I got a call. I got the job, and I managed to. It was my first paid job, mind you, so not bad on my part.
Nice, very nice, man.
Yeah, that was when we started. We got these interviews on what we think about life and ourselves, and then we got to this place called Rock Villa in Glasgow, which is an association with the National Theatre of Scotland. I saw the script and I thought, wait a minute, this is just our interviews word for word. This isn't how it works. But then the more we looked into it, combined with the Reason I Jump book, I thought, oh, actually, this really works, because he wanted to handle our performances like half autobiographical and half performance. Yeah, just telling the truth, that's it is, apparently. And I got to see these other autistic performers, like 3 others. Their names are Emma, Nikki, and who run this YouTube channel called Reluctant Penguins Production with people with disabilities. And we got to work with this Canadian man named Michael. He was quite a fun person to collaborate with. We had some other people, like a choreographer, a dance choreographer, who often got us exercising, called Zoe. We got this Dutch designer from the observatorium designing this maze that people had to go through to get to each of the performances, as it was set in the North Kelvingrove Meadows. Which nature was integral to the Reason I Jump, because it's associated with the peace, the spiritual peace. And who else said that? Oh yeah, Fletcher Mathers, who I was extremely shocked and surprised to find out was the voice of the Scotland Railway trains.
That's amazing. And
yeah,
what I love about it, Callum, and especially because you with everything you brought up to me, and especially when you told me, which is something that I guarantee you everybody has experienced, that with any disability that they have, a bullying. But look at you. You didn't allow that to stop you. You know what I mean? You continued to be yourself. You continued to say, look, it doesn't matter what you think I am. I'm Callum. And I love doing what I love to do. And I'm in a community that loves me for me. So what I want you to do right now for anybody who has autism, but they don't have that confidence that you have right now. But they're working on that. But anyone who is facing hard times, anybody who feels that this thing I have, it's just destroying me and I see no way out of it. What can you tell them right now to boost them up and to make them understand that it's okay, you good, you'll be fine?
Before I talk onwards about Reason I Jump, I'm going to motivate fellow brethren out there, because I think we've all been there. I've been there, the place where you feel like, what's the point? Like, you almost just question yourself, is it really going to be worth it if I just keep on going? I mean, people perceive me as a really positive guy, but I've had struggles as well. I mean, I have a few struggles with a few things every day.
Ain't perfect.
About life. No, I'm not perfect. I'm a very flawed person, barely just getting by. Yeah, we're getting down the blues now. So I've had struggles. But I guess for someone like me, I've always had to fight these bad thoughts. Like, I know they're bad because they differ from this path of spiritual positivity, and they're very negative, and they're always taunting me, as it were, and I'm always just going, go away. And as a Christian, I often say a prayer just to tell God to get these thoughts to go away. Yeah, I'm into that. Yeah, and it's really helping. I'm doing it every day, honestly. Yeah, that's me being honest right there. And just every time when if it's spare time, if it's working, I just think, oh, go away. I don't want you here. I mean, this might be damaging. I don't know, but I mean, I made it this far.
Hey man, look, just as I was always believed, and what my parents always taught me, just because what people see you as a Christian doesn't mean that you're perfect. It means
No.
that I'm aware of who I am, and every
Yeah,
day I strive to be a better person. Will I slip?
exactly.
Will I slip? Yes. Will I make mistakes? Of course. But
Oh yeah,
I'm aware of it, and I will work myself every day to be better.
yeah. People might look at me and say, "Oh, he's probably the snobbish person who thinks he's always good." But honestly, I think I could say I'm probably a bad person. But just like you said, Ron, I always strive to be better, and I always strive to be a better person, acknowledging that I'm not perfect, acknowledging that I make mistakes, because it's good to be honest, and it's good to just keep it going and always find hope and meaning and purpose and all the beauties of everything that have become so much more meaningful. Yeah.
Now man. I'm having a good conversation with Callum Macritchie right now. We have been going about some good stuff right here about his
Oh
love for
yeah.
animation, love for voice acting, about his faith, and just having a good discussion about autism. And Callum, if anyone wants to learn more about autism, do you know anywhere they can go about it?
Um. Ooh, that's a good question. Talk to someone with autism. I suppose there's some books like The Reason I Jump that raised awareness of that. I suppose. Ooh, maybe we could recommend some films for you. Yeah, I suppose. You could watch a film like Happy Feet, and I personally view characters like Mumble as maybe a representation of autism in a way, because if you've seen Happy Feet, this is a community of penguins that strive on singing as a way of life, as a way of finding their soulmate. Mumble, when he was just an egg, was dropped by his dad Memphis, and because of this, he uh, gained the extremely amazing ability to dance. Sadly, at the cost of his singing, everyone's poking at him and everyone's pressuring him just to be better. But Mumble's saying, "Look, I'm just me, okay? I'm happy the way I am. These are happy feet." And his own clan doesn't accept him, but he comes across some friends who do accept him as he is, and he eventually defies all odds by proving his worth and saying, "Hey, look at what my dancing can do." The dancing managed to, spoilers, appease to all the humans and managed to save the fish. I guess of a singing penguin. I don't know how well that would have sounded with with the humans, because that would have been funny. Because you know how Mumble speaks. You're taking our fish. The humans are hearing.
Exactly,
Something. Oh my!
exactly.
If that's talking, well, the singing penguin's gonna
But
sound
go on,
like.
go on.
Um, Other examples of autism. Oh man, I suppose there's films like extremely, was it extremely loud and incredibly close? A story about this young boy who loses his dad, played by Tom Hanks, at the 9/11 incident, and he finds this key, which apparently unlocks some treasure, and the adventure is about finding out what this key unlocks, and he's having to overcome these fears. He'll often like play a tambourine just to calm himself down in certain areas. But then this grandpa figure comes along, never speaks a word, but he communicates using written notes, just encouraging him to come along and just conquer his fears. I suppose. Oh, what other examples could I think of at the top of my head? Maybe like Newt Scamander from the Fantastic Beasts. Say what you want about it, but I think Newt's quite a lovable character when you look at him from that perspective.
I think that's good
Oh,
enough, man.
yeah, I think I
I
think I think that'll do for
I,
today. Yeah.
I think you gave everybody a good idea of what, but if they want to learn more about it.
Wait, two more. I suppose Amelie, the French film, and Forrest Gump, I suppose. Maybe not autism in particular, but I think there's something similar going on with those characters.
See right there. And
Yeah,
if anyone who has autism and you feel that there's no way out, look, you got people. There are people out there who want to help. There's people that want to keep you up, and also too, it doesn't mean that you can't stop striving for your goals and your dreams.
yeah,
Nothing is impossible. Nothing should ever try to stop you. A
yeah. Just take a
roadblock.
look at Steven Spielberg and some other people. Yeah, there's celebrities who have autism too. You know.
and look at them. No matter what, nothing is going to stop you. The only person that will fully stop you is yourself. Callum, and now that we got this far, my brother, my man,
Yeah.
the last things I just want to bring up to you as yourself
Uh-huh.
is I just want you now just to go not too long, but I want you just to tell me the people that who've inspired you, who've encouraged you, who helped
Oh
you,
man.
and then you who people that you want to show love to. So right now, this is the shout out time. I want you to shout out anybody,
Oh.
whether it be your family, your friends, people who you look up to, anyone in between. The floor is
Oh.
yours. Go ahead.
Stop the dancing. No, floors on mine. I suppose the Stardust app has been really inspirational lately. I'll mention that first. I got introduced to the Stardust app via Nostalgia Critic, starting with the Believe in Santa, that awful movie.
Let's talk about that thing.
Yeah, downloaded the app and did these reactions. Like, these could make mini reviews. That could be good for my channel's reputation. The channel which I eventually had the confidence to do outside the Eden Court, by the way, which by encouragement of my website. And then in the Stardust app, I had a bit of fun. One of my first reviews was dressing up as Tommy Wiseau and talking about The Room, and I had lots of fun. As I got more used to the app, I noticed you could comment and mention each other in reactions, which was quite fun. And that way I got to meet lots of people, including yourself, Ron, including Stephanie, Minute Movie Pop, Ross. I met Minute Imperfect Vanity. Funny fact about Imperfect Vanity, I honestly thought she was,
Oh, she's one of those trendy girls. Best not follow her. She gets much more attention.
I was completely wrong. She is one of the most witty, cynical people I've ever met. And also, of course, I also met Neil. He was really funny person that he is. I mentioned him in a reaction being an evil business gentleman. We was talking about what was it? Gem and the Holograms. One time, he was making a joke like, "Dang it, we need to hit the nostalgia bone with this next movie. But what movie will cash in on nostalgia, but yet doesn't have a big enough fan base to chew apart? Bring me Gem and the Holograms." And then I did a Tim Curry impression character mentioning him, and then he bounced off me in another reaction, and I thought, yeah, this is going to be a good friendship. And we got in touch with each other, and it was around the time when I lost my account due to this EU incident where Stardust couldn't control the European account, so had to briefly delete all the European accounts at the time. Fun fact, my last reaction during that time was a ripping off Uguay's Ascent scene. What do I do without you? You must believe. I even played the music in the background. So that was sad. But hey, I got to meet you and Neil in person, which was quite mind-blowing as well. But when I was in Glasgow doing Reason I Jump, doing the performance, we got in touch with each other talking about the podcast. It was you who came up with the Actaholics title, fun fact.
That's right.
I was hoping we would do it whilst I was still in Glasgow, but they were like, "Oh, we'll do it this day." "Oh no, but I'll be home by then. I might disturb my parents." And I still have that risk to this day, but I've gotten over that. And of course, the rest is history. And I managed to get my account back when friends told me that I could. And my first reaction back was ripping off Barbossa's return in Dead Man's Chest. Like, "So tell me, everyone, what has become of my account?" Okay, who ate my apple? And there's been many laughs and joys. Doing the Actaholics podcast, I've had some of the most hysterical laughter I've had in a while, especially from you, Ron, because I'm sorry, Ron, I still can't take the title of your show seriously.
That's what I do, man. That's who I am.
Basically, those of you who don't know, this is a common catchphrase of Ron. Let's be real. The reason I find it so funny is because in the podcast, we often have these debates as to what was the best thing. Ron often has these choices that don't hold up as much as the others, and yet you put in so much passion with your laid-back personality that everyone with your catchphrase, let's be real, and the fact that that catchphrase is associated with the lacquer, we just completely lose it all the time. Sorry, Ron, I have to be honest.
It's all good, brother. I love that, man.
Also, other shout outs. I suppose I'm still getting consuming all sorts of great stories and all those theologians and Bible experts that have helped me on my journey. Shout out to all the support teachers who have tolerated me and guided me gently on what to do next throughout the school times. To my family and friends who have been there with me all the time and supported me every step of the way, and they're completely with me on the passion. They don't think what I'm doing is childish. They're with me. They may not understand what I'm doing as much as they do, but they understand that I'm passionate about it and that I'm really good at what I do. I'm not good at everything, but I'm a very creative person, so I tend to be very good at things that are quite creative.
One step at a time, man. You'll get there.
Yeah, that's what I say. One step at a time. Yeah. And is that all? I guess all the voice actors who've crammed my mind with voices to have fun with.
See, right, I love that, Callum, man. And look, as you guys know, my name is Ron Smith, aka Ronald E Smith. And I'm talking with Callum Macritchie. This man.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Go ahead.
One other thing regarding the reason I jumped, it was a great performance. We had these performances, each of our own, and we eventually duplicate some of the stories from the books. And recently, we've been participating in the filming of this documentary for The Reason I Jump, which is rumored to be on Netflix and is directed by this popular documentary maker. I cannot remember his name. I think it was Jeremy something. Hold on. No, you can look it up for yourselves. No, I won't bother. No, that would have taken too long. No, made by this popular documentary man, and it's quite fascinating. And I think the documentary itself is going to focus on some non-verbal speaking autistic people, but we had this one colleague of ours who was in primary school who participated in the Reason I Jump production, and he's more or less getting the spotlight. But I managed to get a few interviews as well as some other cast members, so it's either going to come out. It's coming out sometime next year. So, Ron, I just want to say, if in the event that we ever do see that documentary, we should have another interview.
Look, you know me, find me, and I would love to help you out, man. Please.
And I think that might be a good place to end the interview.
And as that sign goes, my name is Ronald E. Smith.
Oh, actually, no.
This charismatic brother is Callum Macritchie, Scotland's own. And y'all, I think we just got real.
Sorry.
Thank you. And we'll see you soon. That's
all, folks.
Like and subscribe. And have a good day.
Bye.